Welcome back. Today, a lot of political issues have become increasingly partisan.
One thing that crosses party lines, though, is lobbyist money. KOMU 8's Michael Dowdna explains where that money's going and how it disappears.
Missouri may have the most lax ethics laws in the country. Missouri is the only state where lobbyists can make unlimited campaign contributions and give gifts to lawmakers. Now, the defense has always been that the money is reported and clearly visible, but we found that's just not the case.
$1.8 million. That's how much money lobbyists gave in the way of food, tickets, airfare, and other gifts through the last legislative term. Gifts accepted by individual lawmakers go on the record, but gifts going to groups like committees do not. And group contributions are on the rise. A recent St. Louis Public Radio report found 3/4 of gifts given by lobbyists were to groups, up 15% from last year. This means a lobbyist can take out an entire committee, but the dinner will never show up on the lawmaker's individual records.
Yeah, I think there's probably been isolated cases,
Right,
where there's been a couple of abuses.
Which is a good thing, because Barget and Associates pumped almost $60,000 in gifts last legislative term, including dinners with more than $1,000 tabs for committees like professional registration and licensing, utilities, economic development, and 6 other committees for a final price tag of more than $25,000, none of which will appear on a lawmaker's record.
I can tell you, I've never been at a dinner that I've hosted or been there with some other people where somebody said, okay, we've ordered our dinner. John, tell us what it is you'd like for us to do tomorrow.
So what's their purpose?
What most of them buy, if you will, at most, is access. It's the ability to come by and talk to a member of Congress, state legislator, staff member about a piece of legislation.
These dinners usually center around establishing connections with lawmakers. The biggest spenders are a virtual who's who of the state. Ameren spent the most money of any group last term, including a $16,000 meet and greet with Westinghouse CEO for the entire General Assembly. Westinghouse and Ameren partnered together for the Callaway nuclear power plant. And John Barget and Associates, grouped with other lobbying organizations, spent more than $346,000 on gifts for lawmakers. But lobbyists like Barget say just because the perception is bad doesn't mean reality is.
That I work with in Jefferson City, both people that I work with and people that I work against, are quite honestly some of the most honorable, decent people that I've ever had the privilege of meeting.
Barget says gifts aren't the best motivators.
I mean, the power of a local constituent is much greater than any of the perceived power that people believe lobbyists have.
But what about the lawmakers? Even with the less reporting, some lawmakers still rack up the gifts. Senator Kiki Curls took the most last term, including 19 separate ticket gifts from lobbyists, adding up to almost $3,400 of free tickets to things from baseball games to a Miami Heat basketball game in Kansas City and more. Senator Ryan Silvey took the second most, all the while being the vice chairman of the Governmental Oversight and Fiscal Responsibility Committee. And Senator Tom Dempsey, the vice chair of the very committee an ethics reform bill would have to be heard, received almost $45,000 since being elected in 2007. But just because they accept gifts, is that a problem?
If all this information comes to light and the citizens of that district do not believe that there's anything wrong with it, and there's no laws have been violated, and they keep re-electing Representative Snort, with all due respect, the last time I checked, we were in America, and that means the majority rules.
And Barget is right. All these gifts are legal. And year after year, ethics bills about gifts and contributions have been filed only to die in the Missouri legislature. Some fail because they go too far, while others because they don't go far enough. Another round of ethics bills will be filed this year, and it might get some unexpected support.
The more transparency, the better for everybody.
You can see the 10 lawmakers who took the most and what exactly they took online at KOMU.com.